There's a Chongyu I like very much. It's 水落石出. You know, there's one I like is 这小矛盾. You know, there's another one I like is 守株待兔, 直来直去, and 拐弯抹角, 对吗? It's two extremes. 直来直去, foreigners, they're more like 直接. So it's interesting because every time behind the Chongyu there's a story, right? In Chinese, 你们要知己知彼, 对吗? You want to fight China? Well, learn first about your enemy. 活到老学到老. It's a long journey of learning. Bonjour, je suis d'origine italienne, suisse. My name is Angelo. I like to joke, you know, because I've been here in China a long time, and they always ask me, where are you from? And I'm kind of, because I'm mixed Swiss and Italian. I'm Swiss daytime and Italian nighttime. The Swiss, you know, Swiss are more, you know, they look at more reliable professionals. And I think the Italian side is more romantic.
During Angelo's young age, he was a bit rebellious and always curious to observe the world with his own eyes. Sensitive about injustice, he tried different work in many parts of the globe. School teacher in Taiwan, teaching dances in Peru, and helping local children in Uganda for UN food program. He also devoted himself in helping the disabled back in 1991. In his spare time, he enjoys doing sports. He even managed to train himself to a yoga master who can do many challenging yoga poses. We came across a YouTube video in which he participated the assembly in Tamar Park, supporting Hong Kong police. As a foreigner living in Hong Kong, he was among the few to speak out against protesters' violence and fake news of Western media. This aroused our interest, and we invited him to be my guest.
If I'm what? If I'm a policeman.
Yeah, could you say something about that?
Okay, well, this is very interesting. You know,
It looks like you.
yeah, the guy looks like me, actually. So when I was at Prince Edward Station, something very aggressive, not very rational, you know, it's just pinpoint. Shame on you, you are Chinese and so on. I'm from Switzerland, and I know about democracy. I told the lady, I said, look at yourself, look at the mirror. What do you see? You are Chinese. They took my picture, and then there was a picture of another policeman, right, with a mask. And they say, oh, you see, the police is staging a fake protester, right? So fake support of police. You know, they faked it, right? When you look at that Twitter, when you look at that fake news, it's very scary because if those people of Democito, racist people, they get the power one day, there's nothing less than a Nazi party. You have like medias. I mean, I call it like trash media, which is like Apple Daily. It's just a joke. It's just like fake news the whole time with a political agenda. You know, it's extremely misleading. And it's a danger for society. When you look at the profile of Jimmy Lai, I think it's a joke. He came to Hong Kong when he was 13. How can you be racist against China when yourself you are Chinese and you came here when you were 13? How can you be anti-mainland Chinese? You are Chinese. Accept that. And how can you do a pact with the devil with the US? I think it's a shame. I'm not Chinese, I'm not from Hong Kong, but when I see that, I cannot accept. They are dangerous. This kid, Joshua Wong, he's dangerous. You know, anti-mainland China, anti-China. I want to tell them, you know, maybe you don't deserve to be Chinese. You don't deserve. I think it's an honor to be Chinese. You should be proud.
Since a teenager, Angelo had grown a strong interest about Asia. He learned about Deng Xiaoping and the opening of China. He set a goal to learn Chinese and made a decision to live in China. He quit his promising banking job at that time and went on an adventure to this completely foreign land. All he had was a backpack full of energy and full of dreams.
You know Chu Yang? I like to joke about this. Yang, the signification, you have lamb, right? And then you have San Dian Shui. It could be that when the foreigners were coming into China, they looked like lamb because they had like, yellow hair and curly. And San Dian Shui, it's because they came from the sea. Like Chu Yang is like, it means like making a fool of yourself, that is okay, And I think Chinese, they do understand that. When I was 15, I was dreaming about coming to China because I started to read stuff about Deng Xiaoping, the opening of China. We need China to be strong so we can have a more balanced life, especially to counterbalance American hegemony. Because Americans are violent, they're bullying the world. China understands about there's no black and white. It's a gray world. And Western values are not universal. Western democracies are not universal. China has found a system that fits to China value and China history. When we talk about human rights, the real human rights, it's being taken care in China. They're lifting up 600 million people out of poverty. People have access to education. People have access to food. So I'm Italian, and my parents, they immigrated to Switzerland. And all my childhood, I was bullied, because we were foreigners. And, we had to stand up, and we had to fight. Because if you didn't fight, they would keep on bullying you, right? So when I saw mainland Chinese being bullied, I really felt deep inside that I really understood what they were going through. And the funny thing is that what I want to tell you through this story is that many years later, the ones that were bullying me, they became my best friends. So sometimes we are confused and we don't see the truth. But in reality, they are bullying their best friends. And it's very interesting, when you look at the reaction of mainland Chinese, they're not giving the hate back. You look at the medias and average mainland Chinese, when they look at what is happening in Hong Kong, what do they say? 洗脑, 幼稚. What I started learning more and more in China is that a lot of the communication is more honest, in a sense that in the Western world we tend to be too much politically correct, while I started learning that in China, in reality, people really speak their mind. They do. Well, I watch the media in China, I read the newspapers, and people really have the freedom of speech, maybe in some ways more than in the West. The only problem is that those newspapers are not in English, they're all in Chinese. I would say if there's one thing that I learned out of China is really that wisdom of understanding. No matter how those kids are evils in their actions, but I feel bad for them because they're just being used as pawns. They don't realize. They're just blinded. And the problems of brainwashing starts from the books, right? If you look at the books in Hong Kong, the history books are still books from, the old days, British colonial books, right? Where they against China, So it starts from school. Then you have the teachers' unions that are anti-Chinese. And then you have the medias. So you can have all those kids are going through a whole process where they're in a circle where they don't see the lights. We say in Chinese, 井底之蛙. When you are a frog and you're into a well, you're at the bottom of the well, right? you're looking at the sky and the sky is very, very small. For those people calling for freedom, their sky is really small. 你们要打开眼界. We are living in a world of globalization. You want to grow up, go to mainland China, see what is happening there. If you want to grow up, you need to expand your views. 你们要知己知彼，对吗? You want to fight China? Well, learn first about your enemy, what you call your enemy. Learn about them. Go to mainland China, go there. And you know what? Ego doesn't feed you. When you're hating someone, you're just killing yourself slowly. And you're making the society a chaos. Is it what you want of Hong Kong? If they want to do politics and they don't fight, there's no violence, I don't care. I'll let them do it. I'm 50 right now. And when I see them fighting in the street, they have the age potentially to be my son, right? So I step in and I say, you'd better stop. I have an advantage to be foreigner. And I have to be honest. It's not brave what I'm doing. When you're a foreigner, you step out, they will not beat you up for X reasons. I think the real hero are the police. The real hero are those Chinese people, locals. They step out and they say, don't, stop, stop, stop. And they get beaten up. Those are the real heroes. There's no more cool to be the revolutionary. You know, we all dream about being Che Guevara, right? It's so cool. And you're going to have lots of girlfriends, right? Because you're cool, right? You know what? You're not a hero. Beating policemen doesn't make you a hero. The real hero are the people that are struggling. Their parents are hero. You know those people, they work so hard to bring up a family, to put food on the table. They are the real hero, because that is really difficult. When you are parents and you need to make your living, send your kids to school, and that's the reality of the world.
一家四口每日就逼喺呢一間100尺嘅劏房，月租係4900蚊，但靠佢一個人工作，月入唔夠2萬。
A 1,000 miles journey starts with a single step. Sometimes what I do, I go from Tin Tai Shui, I go all the way to Mongok and higher, Xuan Shui Po, over there. You look at this whole road all the way up, the different social status there is. And this is when you discover that Hong Kong is actually suffering of what we call this Pingfu Chaju. But the problem is that government has limited power, especially, you know, the housing problems, the land ownership, they have limited power over there. I can feel the frustration of people. I really can feel that. You know, sometimes they tell, oh, you are foreigner, you know what, you make a lot of money, you don't, you know, you do not know what we're going through. Well, I will tell them, I come from a poor family. My friend was a mason. He was building houses, you know. We had a hard life when we were younger. And when I see the way they're living in small cages, I do feel bad for them. And I really understand that if they are going out in the streets because income inequality, I will be there to support them. Because no matter where you are, income inequality, it's a world problem. And I think it's unacceptable, the difference you have in Hong Kong with the extra rich having billions of dollars and the really poor. And I am with the really poor. I really am. And I can feel that pain. But you know, we live in a capitalistic world, right? Where money is power. You know what? If tomorrow you have the money, you have your freedom. I'm afraid? Look at me. Do I look I'm afraid? No.
Never worry about these problems.
You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried that one day I will look at myself in the mirror and I will have regrets. This is what I'm worried about. I need to be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, well, when I had to speak out, I did speak out. You know, when there was a Second World War, the Nazis were there, the fascists were there, and people wouldn't speak up, right? And they live with shame. There's a little bit of shame. People dying on the street, you don't go help. The next day, how you can live with this all your life? When you're about to die, you can look at yourself and you say, well, I had somehow some contribution. I left maybe my son, my daughter, and so on. And then maybe I brought something to society, even a small piece, right? But when you do that, it gives a meaning to our life. Because we cannot live just for oneself. I think it's really important to look at society, our contribution. Where is our contribution? Everybody can contribute. We can fight them on the medias, on social media. We can fight them in front of the camera. We can go to the police office and tell the police thank you. We can do that, simple stuff. They say, 广赴香港. You want to go back to when in Hong Kong? Don't you forget that before 97, it was a colony. Don't you remember that in some parks, only dogs and Chinese were not allowed? You don't remember that? Do you remember how you were treated by British? The British has only been nice to you since the 1990s. Why? Because they want to prepare a ground for chaos, for the handover. It's time to wake up. That's all I want to say. Time to wake up. And violence doesn't solve anything. Please stop with the violence. Stop with the violence. You're not going anywhere. Your freedom starts within. It starts here and it starts here.
呢一個社會事件仲未解決，警民關係破裂，政府同市民之間嘅不信任。
And I think Hong Kong needs one thing which is really, really important is Article 23. Article 23 for Hong Kong is essential. We cannot go on if you don't have sovereignty of China over Hong Kong. This is a precondition, non-interference of foreign countries and preserve sovereignty over Hong Kong. That's really important. And I think the pandemic movement is very unfair about this because there's one country to system. But when you analyze one country to system, there's first one country. Since 1997, tell me when China didn't respect one country to system. Tell me. Forgive me the bad joke, right? 这个叫讽刺. You know, because they are so looking down on mainland China. You know, they think mainland China is a place where you go to Shenzhen, you get a massage, you know, you get, you know, like cheap weekend, right? No, but Shenzhen is no more like this. If Hong Kong keeps on this direction, in 20 years' time, you will have people from Shenzhen coming to Hong Kong for Disneyland, for one chai beer, you know. That's all they will come for some shopping. And those people that are writers, they will end up working in a restaurant in Shenzhen. That's what's going to happen. I have a very simple life. I try to stay healthy because I think this is really important. So, you know, and meet up with friends, but with a very simple life. I like reading. Gandhi has a quote that says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So they need to do that first action. We want to change society. We need to have that single step of that first action. I don't, you know, personally I don't want to do any politics. I don't, you know. I think this is internal matter, Chinese matter. It's a Hong Kong matter. At the end, it will have to be solved by Chinese, okay? But I want to do that first step. And I really hope that by me doing this first step of speaking out, more foreigners will come out. It will give like courage to more people, Chinese, Hong Kongese, well, to come out and speak up. That's what I want to do. Because you know what, the last thing I want, personally what I want to go back to my normal life. You know,